All right, Daniel, thanks for catching up with us today.
Nice to be here.
Well, yeah, obviously we already know each other from our EOS journey here at Zemba. However, I was hoping you could perhaps give us a bit of an overview on what EOS is and what it can bring
Sure.
to somebody's business.
Yeah, sure. So great to be here, and nice to have been working with Zemba over the last few years and helping you and the team build the company. It's been a great experience, great team to work with. So a little bit about EOS. So EOS, firstly, it stands for the Entrepreneurial Operating System, and ultimately what it is a set of tools and a process we follow to teach those tools to the team so that they can run their business more effectively and ultimately get what they want from their businesses. So, and that varies, right? So that's probably a good segue into what exactly we do to help. So there's six key areas that we focus on strengthening when we're working with clients. And the first of those six key areas is the vision component. Put simply, we're just asking people, where exactly do you want to go? What does that look like? What does success look like for you? And it sounds like a really simple question, but and typically the founder of the company has an idea of what that looks like. But as they build a company, that changes too. So we have a bit of a unique approach in that we work with the leadership team. So as you know, working with yourself, and your sisters and the rest of the leadership team members, we sit down and we actually have a really open discussion around what do we all see here, what are we hoping to achieve. And we use a document called the VTO, Vision Traction Organizer, get ourselves really clear and get everyone on the same page around who are we, where are we going, what does that look like. And I guess you can share even your experience, what that was like going through that vision component with yourself and the team. What did you think of it?
Yeah, it's interesting, Daniel, because as you know, we obviously followed EOS fairly closely for a long time before we sort of, I guess you say, officially went through the implementation process with you. And that was an eye-opener when we actually did that. We felt that we had a pretty strong vision, but we ended up changing a lot of things when we did work with you. It does provide a lot of clarity. There's part of the key part of the vision or setting the vision is the 8 questions that make up the VTO. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, so what we do is with that document, we're going through and firstly asking ourselves, what are our core values? So what are a simple set of guiding principles that are important to us as a group? And it helps define the right people for the organization. Then we talk about our core focus. So what are we here for exactly? So what's our purpose? Why do we exist, if you like? And what's our niche? What do we do really well? Then what's our 10-year target? So what does a big, airy, audacious goal look like? And that varies. I've got some companies who want to just build a $10 million kind of family-based business where we have lots of fun and we love hanging out together. I think my largest client has a target of $3.3 billion. So it just varies. Ultimately, what do you want to have? Then we talk about how we're going to get there. What's our marketing strategy look like? Just some fundamentals. And then we go into the 3-year picture. What does it look like 3 years from now? What does success look like on the horizon? And then that cascades down into the 1-year plan, then the 90-day rocks. What are we going to be focused on over the next 90 days? What are our key priorities? And then we also have a wonderful little thing called the long-term issues list. I call it the parking garage, things that we have to address in the future. So that's something that we also enjoy. So when you get everybody on the same page around those things, and you've got everyone, aligned, ultimately what it does is just brings a real sense of clarity to what's going on. Where are we going? Is everyone on board, and are they excited by what that looks like? So that's ultimately what the tool is there to bring about that clarity and get everyone rowing in the same direction, if you like.
No, that's good. The vision really is the starting point for every successful organisation.
Yeah, for sure.
was just thinking of the first question, if you like, the what are your core values? Sort of that segues, or it's really crucial to the next component in the EOS model, the people component.
Yeah, great segue. So once we've got everyone clear on that vision, we then talk about the people component, which is the most challenging component. At the end of the day, we all need great people to help us accomplish that vision. And there's two things we focus on, two fundamentals in there called right people and right seat. And to simplify that, right people are the people who align with those core values that we got really clear on in the VTO. So they enjoy working with us and we enjoy working with them. We just have aligned core values. And right seat means that they're able to actually do the job. So we often find in business that sometimes you've got a person that you really love, you get along really well, but they just can't do the job quite as well as what you would like them to do. But because you love them so much, you find it hard to move them on. And that's not great for anyone. Or you get the flip side, where you've got a technically sound jerk, if you like, right? Somebody who's really great at their job, but they just upset everybody, and they're just not a fit with the value set that exists in the business. So we give a whole bunch of tools around the people component to help clarify what the right seats are, what the seats are, and what the values are, and making sure there's a fit. So people get to come to work and enjoy what they do and do it well.
Yeah, it's good, Daniel. It's not that we're saying people are bad, in essence. It's just that they might not fit.
Exactly right. And that's a really important distinction. It's right people, we simply mean right for your organization. They're a right fit. They're not good or bad people. They're just the right fit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And the next component is data, Daniel. So we've been talking about people, which is obviously probably one of the more difficult aspects of business. But then data can help make those decisions around the people as well too, can't it? The numbers don't lie.
Exactly right. Yeah, the numbers don't lie. They're there to help us see what's working and what's not working. And I use the word what's working instead of who intentionally, because sometimes you've got people who are working very hard, but the results aren't there. And it's not always a reflection upon their skill. Sometimes we've got outdated processes or systems that need adjusting. So the data component just helps remove the guesswork and assumptions that often exist in small to medium, that kind of growth phase businesses, and give us factual information so that we can make better, more informed decisions across the business.
Yeah, that's good. And what it brings to light, I guess, is, well, that's where the next part comes in, the issues, solving issues, is dealing with those.
Exactly. So when you've got a really
problems.
clear vision and the right people on board in the right seats, and you've got a strong data component, what it does is help create a pretty lucid organization. You can see what's working and what's not working, and it does help you identify what are the issues that exist in the business. So from an EOS perspective, we talk about issues being roadblocks, inefficiencies, challenges, etc., but also opportunities that exist in the business. So what could we be doing better? What opportunities exist in the business? So firstly, identifying them, and then giving our team the ability to actually act on them correctly. Do they know how to solve their issues properly? What we often find is they're not so great at solving them. They might be able to identify them, but they're not great at solving them. So we teach them some tools to help them achieve that better. And
it's easy to talk about issues.
Yes, that's right. Ultimately, we want to just solve them. There's better things to do in life.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's good. And then obviously there's two more components we haven't talked about. One of them being process. You touched on it just, I think, a bit earlier. But that's really key, isn't it? Getting your processes nailed, refining them.
For sure. Yeah, and ultimately we what we often find is this particular component is the one that people resist the most, and it's often because it's just when people say process, it's probably similar to the word meeting. They can often sound like really dull and boring experiences, and we just want to make them sexy at the end of the day. We want to make them attractive because if you learn the power behind process, you start to realize, hey, if we've got our everyday activities really process-driven, systemized, and then even automated where possible, or outsourced. This is where Zemba's a great opportunity, great partner for that. Outsourcing
Thank you,
those
Daniel.
things, to be able to allow our key people to be focused on the things that they need to be, where they bring the greatest value, right? And so process component can bring about consistency for both customers and our team members, but it also can bring about greater results, improved happiness at work. One thing that I always like to do that gets people's attention is I say, have you ever gone on holidays before and felt the need to leave your phone on? And unfortunately, the phone rings regularly. And they're like, yeah. I say, well, that's a pretty good sign that you haven't got your processes defined and trained to other people so that they can follow that process in your absence. So ultimately, if we strengthen that process component, it should result in you being able to live a better life. You can take holidays and things and not have to worry so much about having the phone with you 24/7. So, and ultimately it builds great value in the business too.
Absolutely. People, especially in a business like Zemba, where perhaps it's not a tangible product,
Yeah.
we're selling a process. So I was just thinking, you said earlier that you can experience the greatest resistance to process. It could be people have had negative experience in the past with a process being doing something for the sake of doing it, but that's not the case here. If you find yourself doing that, that means the process is broken, and I guess that's an issue.
Yeah, I mean, the greatest resistance I get is often from the likes of architecture firms or designers or marketing agencies, these creative type people that they say, oh, we don't want to process drive things, Dan, we're creative here, and I say, okay, I didn't know that invoicing and accounts receivable and things like that was meant to be creative, but maybe I missed that. And, so then I'm like, there's a whole bunch of things that could be done that actually do require process. And if you've got those things dialed in really well, it means that you've got more time for those things that do require creative thought, and you'll have less distractions. You'll have more time to spend on those things. So it's just a matter of shifting their mindset a little bit. And eventually, once they do see it, they really see the value of getting process strengthened and partnering with other companies that specialize in certain skill sets where they can do it and really deliver a better outcome than what you would be able to do internally.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so those 5 come together in the final one, which is traction.
Yeah. I guess a famous quote I heard Gino once mention was, vision without traction is merely hallucination. And I like to add, it's damn frustrating, right? So a lot of people have the very best of intentions when they start a business, and they want to go out there and build something that's purposeful and helps people. And so they've got this wonderful vision in their mind, but what they end up with, their reality is starkly different to what they had originally thought it was going to look like. And it's frustrating for them. So the whole point of EOS is to equip the team and empower them with the tools required to bring that vision into reality. And that is that traction piece, giving them what they need to bring that vision into reality. Because at the end of the day, if we're not achieving the vision, then there's no point to all the effort that we're putting in. It's a lot of sacrifice. So that's really where the rubber meets the road, and ultimately where the team gets rewarded. That's where the joy comes from.
Absolutely. And that's the great thing about the EOS process, I guess, is it gets that granular, gets down to that everyday, boots on the ground, even the meeting, at level 10 meetings and everything. That's a big part of it.
Yeah, that's right. And I think one of the beautiful things about EOS is its simplicity and the fact that you don't have to have an MBA to understand the tools. In fact, they were deliberately designed to be simple in nature so that the tools can be used from the leadership team right down to a trainee who's just joining the business. They will understand the tools and be able to use them immediately to get results. So it's one of the beautiful things about the EOS structure and model and process.
Absolutely. That's good. I was actually just thinking earlier, one of our, I think it might have been first meeting, Daniel, that you and I were ever at when we were doing our initial 2 days. You said what you find with companies that follow the EOS model, so they all use very similar language. And just literally the other day that happened. Someone said, "Oh, I noticed, you use a lot of this type of language. You guys are by any chance, implementing EOS?" It's like, yeah, we are. So that was really funny. I thought about you straight away afterwards. You actually said that would happen.
Yes, yeah.
Because it happens all the time.
Yeah, it's getting bigger too. I mean, globally now we've passed 12,000 companies running on EOS, predominantly North America, obviously where the company was founded, but we're seeing more and more of it now through the Asia-Pac region, which is really cool. And people get a sense of comfort when dealing with an EOS-run company. They do. They know that they're a values-driven organization that ultimately, I guess, prides itself on business best practices. And that's what EOS is here to do, to provide great results for the business, but more so to provide a great place to work where people really enjoy the work that they do. They feel like they're part of a family, and that the companies that are the customers, the end users of those organizations, also really get a great experience. So it's a win-win for everybody. And so when you see two companies out there and they marry up, they're like, "Oh, you're an EOS run company." That's probably the icing on the cake for us, something we'd love to see.
Absolutely. That's good. Thank you, Daniel. It's been great to catch up with you, and
Yeah.
hopefully we can do it again. I think it'd be awesome to drill in to some of those key components a little more, especially vision. I got a feeling that would really resonate with a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners out there.
Yeah.
It's one of the most frustrating things is having a clear picture of your own, but not knowing how to disseminate that, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we'll make that our next subject. I know that it definitely does connect, certainly to entrepreneurs. I've had a couple who, at the end of completing it, get teary, and they say, "I've been trying to communicate this for years, and you've come along and done it in a couple of days on one piece of paper. How did you do that? It looked like magic." But it's actually just the tools coming together and the team holding hands and getting unified around where they want to go. So it's pretty cool.
And putting a bit of a process behind it.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's good. Thanks, Daniel.
Pleasure. Great to be.